Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell y'all something. Everybody want to be the best until it's time to do what the best do. See, the road to greatness, that ain't a paved highway. It's full of potholes, detours, and a whole lot of people telling you to turn around, but you ain't got to listen to them. Let me break it down for you right now. There are 9 ways to become the best at anything, and I don't care where you come from, what your past is, or how many times life hit you in the mouth. If you've still got breath in your body, you've still got time to win. A lot of people think success is about having the most talent, the best connections, or the perfect circumstances. But let me tell you something real. None of that matters if you're not consistent. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you only show up when you feel like it, if you only give your best effort every now and then, you're not going to make it. Meanwhile, there's someone out there with half your skill set, half your resources, and 0 excuses, who's outworking you every single day. And guess what? Over time, they're going to pass you because consistency always wins. See, consistency is about doing the right thing over and over, even when you're tired, even when nobody's watching, even when you're not getting instant results. It's waking up early to practice when it would be easier to sleep in. It's studying when everyone else is out partying. It's choosing the grind over comfort. And that right there, that's what separates the average from the extraordinary. You don't become great by doing something once or twice. You become great by doing it so often it becomes second nature. Champions are made in repetition. You think Kobe Bryant got to where he was because of talent alone? Nah. That man practiced more before sunrise than most people did all day. Talent gave him a starting point. Consistency made him a legend. The truth is, talent will get you noticed, but consistency will get you respected. People might clap for you once because you're naturally gifted, but they'll follow you when they see that you keep showing up, keep putting in the work, and keep delivering results day in and day out. Consistency builds trust, it builds momentum, and over time it builds greatness. And here's the thing, consistency isn't about being perfect. It's about not quitting. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it, even when you're discouraged, even when you're not sure it's working. Because success doesn't come from doing big things once. It comes from doing small things repeatedly over time. Those little habits, those daily choices, they add up. That's the compound effect of consistency. Too many people quit too early because they expect overnight results. They want to see success on day 5 of doing what successful people have done for 5 years. But the best, they understand that the results always show up later. The seed you plant today won't bear fruit tomorrow, but if you keep watering it, keep showing up and stay consistent, it's going to grow. It has to. So if you want to be the best at anything, don't just ask yourself, am I talented enough? Ask yourself, am I consistent enough? Because talent is potential, but consistency, that's the proof. And the ones who win in the end, they're not always the most gifted. They're the ones who kept going when others stopped. Everything you achieve in life starts with your mindset. It's not your situation, your background, or your connections. It's how you think that shapes where you go. The truth is, your mind can either be your greatest weapon or your biggest enemy. You can be the most talented, most prepared, most gifted person in the room, but if your mind is full of doubt, fear, negativity, you will talk yourself out of opportunities before they even have a chance to reach you. That's why protecting your mindset isn't optional, it's survival. The world is full of distractions and noise. Every time you turn on your phone or scroll through social media, somebody's out there living a life that looks better than yours. And if you're not careful, you'll start measuring your worth by someone else's highlight reel. You'll start doubting your journey because it doesn't look like theirs. But your mind has to be trained to focus forward, not sideways. You have to guard your thoughts like a gate because not everything deserves space in your head. Negative voices, shut them out. People who drain your energy, distance yourself. Doubt? Speak louder than it. What you feed your mind every day becomes the foundation of your belief system. If all you feed it is fear and limitation, that's exactly what you'll act on. But if you fill it with faith, discipline, and possibility, you'll start moving like someone who believes they were born to win. Mindset is not some motivational quote you post on a Monday. It's a daily commitment to focus on what's possible, even when everything around you tells you otherwise. And here's the thing most people don't realize: your mind listens to everything you say. So when you speak about yourself, when you say, I'm not good enough, or I'll never make it, you're programming your brain to make that your truth. But when you say, I've got this, I'm built for this, I'm still learning, but I'm not stopping, that becomes your reality. You have to speak life into yourself. You have to become your own hype man. There will always be critics. There will always be doubters. But if your own voice becomes one of them, that's when you've got a problem. The best of the best don't just master their craft, they master their mind. They talk to themselves differently. They don't get shaken by temporary losses. They don't get thrown off by other people's opinions. They stay rooted in their belief that they're built for more. So protect your mindset like it's your life, because in a way it is. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can always control how you respond. You can choose what you focus on, what you speak, what you believe, and what you allow in. And when your mind is aligned with your mission, there's not a single obstacle that can stop you for long. Success doesn't come to the most comfortable, it comes to the most committed. In every room you walk into, every field you step into, there's always going to be someone smarter, more experienced, more naturally talented. That's just life. But the one thing that will always set you apart, the one thing no one can take from you, is your work ethic. If you're willing to outwork everybody in the room, you don't have to be the most gifted. You just have to be the most driven. And that drive, that's what gets noticed. That's what opens doors. That's what turns average into great. When you decide you're going to be the one who stays later, who shows up earlier, who prepares longer, who digs deeper, you automatically put yourself in a league most people aren't willing to enter. Because people talk about success like it's a dream, but the best treat it like a job. They don't wait to feel motivated. They get up and do it whether they feel like it or not. That's what separates the ones who want it from the ones who have it. You've got to be the person who's hungry to improve every single day. Not just when it's easy, not just when people are watching, but when it's lonely, when it's quiet, when no one is clapping for you yet. Because here's the truth. Most people want the spotlight, but they're not willing to sweat in the shadows. You've got to be okay with doing the hard, unglamorous, repetitive work that no one sees. That's where greatness is built. And don't be fooled, hard work doesn't always mean exhaustion. It means focus. It means sacrifice. It means choosing growth over comfort day after day. You'll miss some fun. You'll say no to distractions. You'll look crazy to people who don't understand your grind. But while they're sleeping on their dreams, you'll be building yours. You might not always win right away, but when you outwork everyone, you make progress every time. You build habits that create momentum. You develop skills that others never bother to master. And eventually you look up and realize while everyone else was trying to catch a break, you became unstoppable. This mindset isn't about ego. It's not about proving you're better than anybody else. It's about proving to yourself that you're willing to do whatever it takes. Because deep down, you know what it costs to be great, and you're not afraid to pay that price. The most dangerous person in any room isn't the one who talks the most or brags the loudest. It's the one grinding in silence, the one who doesn't quit, the one who shows up early, stays late, studies harder, and never stops pushing forward. Be that person, outwork them all, not for praise, not for applause, but because you know what you're capable of. Discipline is the difference between wishing and winning. It's not flashy and it's not always fun, but it's the one thing that separates people who just talk about their goals from the ones who actually achieve them. Discipline is the quiet decision you make every day to say no to temporary pleasure so you can say yes to long-term purpose. It's about choosing progress over comfort, growth over excuses, and legacy over instant gratification. Anybody can be motivated for a moment, but discipline is what keeps you moving long after the mood has left. Every time you're faced with a choice, sleep in or get up and work, scroll social media or study, spend money or save it, you're deciding what kind of life you're going to have. And let me tell you, most of the things you want right now are distractions from what you truly desire. Success isn't stolen in a single bad choice. It's slowly taken away by 1,000 small yeses to the wrong things. And every no you say today to those distractions, that's one step closer to the version of you that you're trying to become. The hardest part of discipline is that nobody celebrates it in the moment. Nobody claps for you when you say no to that party to stay home and work on your goals. Nobody sees you turning down fast food for a home-cooked meal or choosing to read instead of binge watch a show. But those moments, they're the bricks that build a strong foundation. They're the reason people will call you lucky later, because they never saw the sacrifices behind the scenes. Discipline isn't about being hard on yourself. It's about loving yourself enough to do what's best for you even when it's hard. It's about saying, I want to win more than I want to be comfortable. The truth is, success costs something, and if you're not paying with your time, your focus, or your effort, you're probably not really chasing it, you're just dreaming about it. There will always be temptation, always something pulling you away from what you should be doing. That voice in your head will say, just this once, or you deserve a break. And sometimes you do, but other times that voice is lying. You've got to learn to recognize the difference. You've got to remember that the most powerful version of you is waiting on the other side of the decisions you make today. Real discipline is rooted in purpose. When you're clear about what you want most, it becomes easier to say no to what you want now. Because once you've tasted progress, once you've seen what it feels like to move closer to your goals, the little temptations lose their power, and the more you choose discipline, the stronger that muscle gets. Until one day, what used to be hard to say no to doesn't even tempt you anymore, because you've already decided who you are and where you're going. Fear of failure is the number one reason people never tap into their full potential. It paralyzes dreams before they even get started. It convinces people to play it safe, to settle, to stay quiet, to avoid risk. But here's the truth. You will never become the best at anything if you're scared to mess up. Greatness and failure walk hand in hand. You don't get one without the other. Every champion, every expert, every master of their craft has failed more times than most people have even tried. Failure is not the enemy, it's the teacher. It's the training ground for resilience, wisdom, and strength. When you fail, you're not being pushed away from your goal. You're being pushed deeper into the process that builds you. The people who rise to the top aren't the ones who got everything right the first time. They're the ones who fell down, got bruised, heard the critics, felt the sting of embarrassment, and kept going anyway. If you're too afraid to fail, you'll never take the kind of risks that lead to real growth. You'll stay in your comfort zone, where it's safe, predictable, and average. And that's not where the best live. The best step into uncertainty. They try things they've never done. They bet on themselves when there's no guarantee it'll work. And when it doesn't, they don't fold. They learn, they adjust, and they go back at it smarter and stronger. Too many people think failure is final. But failure is only final if you quit. If you keep showing up, keep working, keep believing, failure turns into experience, and experience is what sharpens you. It humbles you. It makes you wise. So instead of fearing it, respect it, invite it, learn to fall in love with the process, not just the reward. The fear of failure is really just the fear of judgment, the fear of looking dumb, the fear of being talked about. But what's worse, being laughed at while you grow or being forgotten because you never tried? You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be brave. Brave enough to try, brave enough to fail, and brave enough to rise again. The best at anything weren't born fearless. They just decided that their desire to win was stronger than their fear of failing. They knew that fear was temporary, but regret would last forever. So they took the shot, even if they missed. And eventually, the misses led to hits. The setbacks turned into setups. The failures became fuel. So if you want to be the best, you've got to stop tiptoeing around failure like it's something to avoid. You've got to run at it, embrace it, let it shape you. Because every time you fall and get back up, you prove to yourself that failure doesn't define you, your response does. And that response, that's what greatness is made of. When you look at where you are right now, it might be easy to get caught up in what's missing, what's broken, what's still unfinished. But what you've got to understand is this: if you've made it through what you've been through, it's not by accident. You didn't survive all those setbacks, losses, heartbreaks, and doubts just to end up living an average, watered-down version of your potential. God didn't bring you this far through all that mess, through all those late nights and silent battles, just to leave you stuck in the middle. You were brought this far because there's more for you. Average is not your destiny. It might be where you came from. It might be what people expected of you, but it's not where you're meant to stay. You've been carried through storms, protected in silence, guided through moments you didn't even realize were miracles. You've had doors open that you weren't qualified for. You've had situations that looked impossible somehow turn around. That's not luck. That's purpose. That's divine alignment. And when purpose is on your life, average becomes uncomfortable. You can't settle into mediocrity because something inside you knows there's more. That's not ego, it's calling. Now, that calling doesn't mean the path will be easy. In fact, when God has something big for you, the journey often gets harder because pressure comes before purpose. The delay before the breakthrough is not punishment, it's preparation. You're being stretched, shaped, tested, so that when the opportunity comes, you're ready. Because God doesn't give you a promise without also preparing you to carry it. Every time you wanted to quit but didn't, every time you kept pushing even when no one noticed, every moment you cried and still got back up, those moments are evidence that greatness is being built inside you. And the thing is, when God puts something in your heart, when He places a vision in your spirit, He also equips you to fulfill it. He doesn't leave you halfway. He doesn't tease you with dreams He won't deliver. But He does expect you to trust Him, to keep moving even when it doesn't make sense, and to act like you believe that something greater is coming. So stop walking like you don't know who's backing you. Stop shrinking when you were built to stand tall. Stop doubting when you've already come through too much to turn back now. You were brought this far for a reason, and you don't have to have all the answers. You just have to keep showing up with faith and obedience, because what God starts, He finishes. And if you're still breathing, He's not done. So lift your head, straighten your back, and remind yourself, average isn't your story. You were never meant to blend in. You were brought here to rise, to lead, to break cycles, to set the standard. Not because you're perfect, but because you're chosen. And chosen people don't settle.